Hey friends, in this video we're going to be going, oh I'm falling, there we go. We're going to be going over the 1.7 notes. So we've added and subtracted with integers, positives and negatives. We've added and subtracted just fractions and decimals, no negatives. So now we're going to talk about what if I have negative fractions, what if I have negative decimals. You're going to do great. Let's get started. So all we are doing today is we're going to take those same rules and apply it to what we know about adding and subtracting rational numbers. So I can apply adding and subtracting rules to, I ran out of space, rational numbers. Okay? So the rules are still the same. We're just having fractions and decimals. So we're going to recap, how do I add fractions and decimals? Okay? So fractions need to have a common denominator. In order to add them. So their bottom number of the fraction has to be the same number. Okay? We're going to do that through multiplication and division. So we can multiply each numerator and denominator by the other denominator. Denominator. So like here where I have 1/2, I'm going to multiply him by 5. Or 3/5, I'm going to multiply him by 2. Okay? Or you can go the least common multiple route if you see that they will share something. So like over here, I know that 2 times 3 gets me to 6. Okay? Either way works. So once they have a common denominator, you just add or subtract the numerators like normal. Okay? So let's do this example. 1/2 plus 3/5. Their bottom numbers, the denominators, are not the same. So I'm going to take 1/2 times 5. Okay. And what I multiply on the denominator, I also need to multiply on the numerator to keep it the same, to keep them equivalent. Okay. So then 1 times 5 is 5, and 2 times 5 is 10. So our equivalent fraction is 5/10 plus, okay, then I'm going to take 3/5 and I'm going to multiply it by 2, because 5 times 2 is 10. What I do in the denominator, I have to do in the numerator. So 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? So after I've done all that, I took 1/2 and made it into tenths. I took 3/5 and made it into an equivalent fraction out of tenths. And my new problem is 5/10 plus 6/10. So now I can just add the numerators together. 5 plus 6 is 11 over 10. And I'm fine if you leave it as an improper fraction. You do not need to change it to a mixed number. Right, because they have the same value. Changing it to a mixed number doesn't change the value. Okay? So even if they're negatives, we're going to follow that same process and then add our addition and subtraction rules. Okay? So I'm going to make them have a common denominator first. I'm going to choose a thinner pencil. So I know that 2 times 3 is 6. So that's how I'm going to convert this one. So I'm going to multiply it by 3. Okay, so this is just 5 over 6 plus a negative. 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 times 3 is 6. So now we have 5 sixths plus negative 9 sixths. Okay, I just multiplied the number parts. Okay, then I see that this is a positive 5 sixths, and this one's negative, so they have different signs, so I'm actually going to subtract. And I'm just dealing with the numerators. So I'm going to take 9 minus 5 is 4. The 9 is negative, okay? And 9 is bigger than 5, so it's going to be a negative 4. Over 6. Okay? So I made them have a common denominator, 5 sixths plus negative 9 sixths. Okay? Dealing with the numerators, they're different signs, a positive 5 and a negative 9. Okay? The 9 is bigger, so I do 9 minus 5 is 4. And like I said, 9 is bigger, but he's also negative, so it's going to be a negative 4. Then to reduce, I'm going to say between 4 and 6, just ignore the negative for a second, okay? Between the 4 and 6, what can I divide both of those by? Well, they're both even, so I can divide them by 2. Okay, this negative is going to stay. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 5 sixths plus negative 3 halves is negative 2/3. Hey, that's pretty fun. Okay. And if I have subtraction, I'm still going to keep change. So I'm going to keep the first fraction the same, 1/9. I'm going to change subtraction to addition. I'm going to change the sign of the second number to a positive 2/3. Okay. Now I need a common denominator. I know that 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm going to multiply these by 3. So now my problem is 1/9 plus 6/9. Okay, 1 plus 6 is 7 over 9. Okay. So, for adding and subtracting negative fractions, same steps, we need a common denominator, and then after that, with the numerators, you just follow your addition and subtraction rules. Okay? So for decimals, remember that we have to line up the decimal points. So you're going to stack them on top of each other. Then you're going to put 0 in as a placeholder either at the very beginning or at the very end of the number. Okay? So 20.1 minus 3.05. So 20.1, then 3.05. And see how right here, there's not a number above the 5, so I'm going to put in a placeholder 0. And you can put one here too. Okay, and we're subtracting. So 0 minus 5, well, I can't do that. So I'm going to borrow 1 from the left. This 1 becomes a 0, and my 0 becomes a 10. So now 10 minus 5 is 5. 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay, my decimal point comes straight down. Okay, 0 minus 3, I can't do that. So I'm going to borrow 1 from this 2. this 2 becomes a 1, and the 0 is now a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7, and 1 minus 0 is 1. So 17.05. Okay. All right, this guy, he printed funny, so we are going to rewrite him. This really goes over here. So this is minus a negative 20.01. Oops, that's not an eraser. Okay, so I'm gonna block this one out since we rewrote him over there. Okay, so now even if it's a decimal, I still follow the addition and subtraction rules. Negative 0.15 plus 13.2. This one's negative and the second one is positive. They are different signs, so we are actually going to subtract. Okay, so I'm going to take the bigger one, 13.2, minus the smaller one, 0.15. Okay, I'm going to borrow, this becomes a 10, 10 minus 5 is 5, 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, 13, 3 minus 0 is 3, 1 minus 0 is 1. Okay, so then which one is bigger, has a bigger absolute value, 0.15 or 13.2? Well, 13.2 is a bigger number, and it's positive, so my answer is going to be positive 13.05. Okay. Negative 12.2 minus negative 20.01. I'm going to keep the first number the same, negative 12.2. I'm going to change subtraction to addition. I'm going to change the sign of the second number. So negative 20.01 is now positive 20.01. Okay? So this one's negative and this one's positive. They are different signs, so we're actually going to subtract. So I'm going to take the bigger one, 20.01, minus the smaller one, 12.2. I need a placeholder 0. 1 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 2, can't do that, I have to borrow. I don't have 1 to borrow from the 0, so I have to go all the way over to the 2. This 2 becomes a 1. This 0 becomes a 10. And now he's a 9, so I can borrow from him to make this 0 a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. My decimal comes straight down. 9 minus 2 is 7. 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay. Now which one's bigger, the negatives or the positives? 20.01 is bigger and positive, so your answer is positive 7.80. Okay? So for your practice, you have 3 levels, okay? You have to do all the problems on the page. So you're going to find either the sum or the difference. The first level is fractions, second level is decimals, and then the third level is both, and there are multiple, okay? So my advice to you is if you have one like this, start with negative 7 minus negative 2. Or sorry, negative 7/4 minus negative 2. Okay? Okay, then whatever that answer is, then add 1/4. Okay, so just do 2 at a time. You got this? Good luck, have fun.